Buccaneers informed rookie Shilo Sanders today that he's being waived.
On August 24th, Shilo Sanders got the boot from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just 24 hours after throwing a wild punch that got him tossed from their preseason finale against the Bills. The son of NFL legend Deion Sanders finally reacted to being cut. And trust me, his reaction is something nobody in the league saw coming. This is the fall from grace. The NFL ain't a forgiving stage. It's a straight-up pressure cooker where careers can collapse in a heartbeat.
Just one more question
Yes,
for you.
sir.
Obviously, Folsom put in the artificial turf
Yes, sir.
this summer. What do you like about that look of the turf and the feel of it? Did the players enjoy it?
I like the look of it because it's beautiful.
One slip-up and your shot at glory can vanish in seconds. For Shilo Sanders, the 25-year-old son of Hall of Famer and coach Prime Deion, that nightmare hit hard on August 24th, 2025, when Tampa Bay decided to drop him, shaking the football world to its core. But to really get it, let's rewind. Shilo wasn't just some no-name undrafted free agent. He built a solid resume in college ball. 229 tackles, 6 interceptions, and 7 forced fumbles across stints at South Carolina, Jackson State, and Colorado. His story screamed perseverance. Following his father's moves, grinding to carve out his own lane under the massive shadow of one of the most electrifying defenders to ever touch the game, the Buccaneers clearly saw something in him. Right after the 2025 NFL Draft, they signed Shilo, and the announcement was made live on Twitch by none other than Deion himself.
Buccaneers informed rookie Shilo Sanders today that he's being waived. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, Robert Bailey, a former teammate of mine with the Ravens, added, "We're hoping he get claimed off waivers."
Thousands tuned in to watch the moment, and the Sanders family celebrated like a dynasty, adding its next crown jewel. For a second, it looked like the Sanders legacy was set to shine even brighter in the NFL. But the league has a cruel way of humbling anyone, and Shilo was no exception. His contract laid it bare, a 3-year deal worth $2,965,000, but with only $157,200 guaranteed. That tiny guarantee wasn't just numbers on paper. It was a cold reminder that in the NFL, nothing is locked in. Every ounce of security has to be earned with blood, sweat, and endless dedication. In training camp and preseason, Shilo flashed glimpses of the talent scouts once praised. Head coach Todd Bowles even gave him props, calling him very aggressive, very young, very hungry, especially noting his upside on special teams. Coaches liked his football IQ and how he commanded respect in the locker room right from the jump.
I know you can't throw punches in this league. I mean, that's inexcusable. They're going to get you every time. Got to grow from that.
But football is brutal. It's a game of inches, and those inches can kill or crown your career. Shilo's preseason numbers, just 4 tackles across 3 games. Decent, but not eye-popping when you're clawing for one of the final roster spots. Then came the moment that changed everything. August 23rd, 2025. A preseason matchup with the Buffalo Bills. What should have been a forgettable game turned into a disaster. Already hit with a pass interference call, Shilo got tangled up in a heated back and forth with Bills tight end Davidson. And then it happened. In a flash of frustration, he swung. That punch sealed his fate. He was instantly ejected, cameras caught it all, and just like that, his NFL dream cracked wide open. For a young player barely holding onto his shot, it was the kind of mistake you simply can't afford. There he was, a Sanders, being walked off the field like a headline villain, all because of a punch in a meaningless preseason game. The image was brutal, the timing even worse, and the weight of his last name made it sting twice as hard. Coach Todd Bowles didn't sugarcoat a thing when he addressed it.
Oh, most definitely. He's my son. I'm proud of my kids, all of them. And I prepared my kids for any and everything that could possibly happen in life and in sports.
His response, quick, sharp, and cold-blooded. These weren't empty coach talk lines. This was a man who's seen plenty of young stars throw their careers away with one bad choice, and Shilo just joined that list. What makes it sting even more is that Shilo wasn't some locker room problem. Word around Tampa was that the Bucs genuinely liked him. Teammates respected him, staff saw him as humble, and even his agents confirmed he felt instant regret after the meltdown. But in the NFL, being a good kid doesn't buy you time when your mistake costs the team. And here's the harsh truth. Rookies without draft stock are disposable. Teams pour millions into their picks, so when roster spots get tight, those investments get protected. An undrafted rookie like Shilo, he's got no margin for error. The fallout came fast. Within 24 hours, August 24th, 2025, Tampa Bay made the call. Shilo Sanders was waived. That phone call is every NFL dreamer's nightmare. And for him, it came right when final roster cuts were hitting across the league. Social media exploded instantly. Clips of the punch, headlines about Coach Prime's son, and non-stop debates about whether this was discipline or disgrace. This wasn't just another cut. It felt like a dynasty crashing before it even started. Suddenly, the Sanders family name, a brand in itself,
He's going to be straight. All the Sanders are going to be straight, with or without football. You better believe that.
was at the center of messy debates about nepotism, race, and whether Prime's boy had been treated fairly. Before Shilo even said a word, other legends were already chiming in, and the takes were split down the middle. But all eyes were on the one man whose voice carried the most weight, Deion Sanders. Coach Prime, never shy of the spotlight, stepped up with a response that blended fatherly pride with a cold dose of realism. He said, "We're praying that he gets another opportunity to go with the team, but if he doesn't, the plans have already been put forward to what he's going to do next." All the Sanders are going to be straight with or without football. That wasn't just a dad talking. That was a masterclass in damage control. Deion made it clear they weren't begging for sympathy. The family had a plan, and Shilo wouldn't crumble even if the NFL door slammed shut. But what hit hardest was the subtle reveal, Deion hinting that Shilo's future might not even be football at all.
But you know what? My brother had a very interesting take on a dream.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you know what a dream is, Ocho? A dream that comes true?
Uh-huh.
He said it's a gift to yourself. A dream is a gift to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I had very similar dreams.
Shilo is a man of many talents, he said. Not hype, not empty words. This was Deion letting the world know the Sanders clan had already built backup lanes for him long before this drama. On top of that, Shilo's powerhouse agents Drew Rosenhaus and Robert Bailey dropped a carefully crafted statement. They admitted the setback was real, but they pushed hope, saying they wanted him claimed off waivers while praising his character as a respectful young man who showed instant remorse. That wasn't spin. That was PR chess. Protecting his image was the only way to keep doors open for another shot. By then, the media circus was out of control. Every analyst had a hot take. Fans were split into camps, and the Sanders family name was once again dominating the sports world for reasons nobody saw coming. Shannon Sharpe, Hall of Famer, media star, and never one to hold back, dropped the deepest take yet on his Nightcap podcast. His words cut right through the noise. For the first time in 25 years, somebody has told you you're not good enough.
Coming from our situations, Ocho, it's easy to be motivated.
Oh, yeah.
Being hungry, being hot, being cold, it's easy. Being rained on, it's easy to develop motivation.
This wasn't just football. This was Shilo Sanders colliding headfirst with rejection, maybe for the very first time in his life. And that stings in ways no stat sheet can explain. Sharpe's point hit hard because it exposed something most people don't think about with superstar kids. They grow up in bubbles where winning feels normal, expectations are sky high, and failure doesn't hit until the whole world is watching. That first taste of it, devastating. But not everybody showed sympathy. Antonio Brown, never shy of stirring chaos, jumped on social media with his own raw take. Whole Sanders fam gonna end up getting cut out the league. Not even their fault. NFL couldn't humble their dad, so they gonna repay the kids. His words were reckless. But they tapped into a darker theory floating online. That maybe the NFL had it out for the Sanders family. That the league couldn't tame Coach Prime, so now his kids were paying the price. And then another wrinkle popped up, the media coverage itself. Fans started pointing out how unusual it was for an undrafted rookie to dominate national headlines just for getting waived. As Sharpe said, when's the last time that was breaking news? His point stuck, rookies get cut every day, but Shilo's story became a circus. Social media turned into a war zone. Some fans stood firmly with the Sanders clan, blasting the NFL with claims of bias and racism. Tweets spread like wildfire. I'm starting to believe the NFL wants to make the Sanders men look bad on purpose. Others even asked if a dynasty like the Mannings would face the same smoke if one of them slipped up.
This part of fathering, this part of parenting, this part of having a relationship. So he is mentally where he needs to be, physically where he needs to be. We're praying that he gets another opportunity to go with a team.
On the other side, critics pounced. They argued Shilo wasn't special. He just wasn't good enough, and no last name should shield him from accountability. Harsh comments rolled in, with some fans flat out saying, couldn't happen to a better family. The debate wasn't just football anymore. It was about privilege, fairness, and whether Sanders' hype was blinding people. Even the punch itself split opinions. Some defended Shilo, saying he got provoked and had every right to stand his ground. Others called it flat out immature. Proof he wasn't ready for the NFL grind. Meanwhile, ESPN's big guns like Dan Orlovsky and Stephen A. Smith jumped in, turning Shilo's waiver into a prime-time talking point. They debated whether family legacy helps or hurts and how much weight a famous last name really carries when it's cut-down day in the NFL. Shannon Sharpe doubled down with Chad Ochocinco Johnson on their show, digging into the deeper struggle of growing up in the shadow of legends. They said the pressure is twisted. When your family's already rich and successful, finding the inner fire to fight through adversity can be harder than for someone grinding just to survive. But while everyone else debated, one person stayed completely quiet: Shilo himself. Days passed, and his silence became the loudest part of the whole story. Was it a smart move? Was he taking advice? Was he just stunned? Nobody knew. While the sports world spun wild with theories and hot takes, Shilo Sanders stayed silent, dead silent. Not a word, not a tweet, not even a cryptic Instagram story. His quietness became the biggest mystery in the NFL because in today's world, athletes post everything. When careers shift, it's usually all over timelines in seconds. But Shilo, he went ghost, and that move spoke louder than any statement ever could. By August 27, 2025, there was still nothing. No interviews, no social media posts, nothing but digital silence. And that silence became its own headline, forcing people to ask, what's really going through his mind? Think about it. Here's a 25-year-old who just hit the kind of rejection Shannon Sharpe called possibly the first time in his life somebody told him he wasn't good enough. Most people his age would have rushed online to clap back, vent, thank fans, or at least drop a motivational quote. But Shilo, he didn't flinch. He chose a totally different lane. His accounts, once filled with NFL energy and personal glimpses, went completely dark. No goodbye to teammates, no thank you to Tampa Bay, no bold promise to prove the haters wrong. Absolutely nothing. And the more silent he stayed, the more it felt deliberate, like he was running his own quiet PR game while the media scrambled for answers. What made it even more shocking was what he didn't do. He didn't beg for another shot, didn't plead his case, didn't chase sympathy points from fans. Instead, Shilo carried himself like someone who valued dignity and privacy over playing the usual athlete playbook. That silence felt less like weakness and more like strategy. The only clues came through secondhand voices. His agent said he felt instant regret after the punch, proof that behind closed doors, he was owning up to it and realizing how serious the fallout was. And then his father, Dayon, spoke up saying Shilo was mentally where he needs to be, physically where he needs to be. That was a strong hint the real processing was happening inside the family, not out in public. And that contrast hit hard, because today's athletes are taught that personal branding is survival. You're supposed to control the narrative, build your image, and never let the spotlight slip. Shilo broke that entire rulebook. And in doing so, he flipped the story upside down. So what was it really? Was it maturity beyond his years, showing he didn't need to prove anything to strangers? Or was it a total rejection of the media game, choosing family and silence over sound bites and hashtags? Either way, his silence made him stand out, and it exposed just how different the road is when you're not just an athlete, but the son of a legend. Shilo's choice to process everything in private looked like his way of separating his own grind from his family's larger-than-life narrative. And the timing? Crucial. On August 27, 2025, he cleared waivers unclaimed, officially becoming a free agent, the window where careers either die quietly or get reborn. When a player hits waivers, the league gets 24 hours to scoop him up. Nobody grabbed Shilo, but that didn't necessarily mean he was trash. Undrafted rookies rarely stick anyway, with only 4 to 6% making the initial 53-man rosters. Still, being unclaimed cracked open new doors. Free agency gave him the freedom to negotiate with anyone, even the Toronto Argonauts, who already owned his CFL rights. And let's not forget, Tampa hadn't completely shut the door either. Word was, the Buccaneers were still open to stashing him on their practice squad. Meanwhile, analysts were busy linking him to possible landing spots: Cleveland, where he could reunite with his brother Shadur, or Denver, where depth at safety was thin. But through all the chatter, Shilo stayed silent, letting everyone else spin theories while he played chess behind the scenes. That lined up perfectly with Deion's earlier hints that the Sanders clan always had backup plans ready. Prime's words about Shilo being a man of many talents sounded less like hype and more like strategy. And honestly, that strategy was working. Critics tried to drag him, supporters rallied around him, and the Sanders family never lost their cool. Deion's calm, calculated statements paired with Shilo's silence created the picture of a family built for adversity, ready to flip setbacks into setups. But the deeper meaning came with what that silence represented. In today's sports culture, where every athlete is expected to clap back online or beg for another chance, Shilo's silence was pure rebellion, a quiet statement that not everything belongs on Twitter threads or IG stories. Some moments are bigger than social media. Too raw, too personal, too layered for a soundbite. That silence showed emotional intelligence too. Instead of snapping back at critics or scrambling to defend himself, Shilo chose patience. He seemed to understand the long-term impact of every word said in the middle of chaos, and he refused to let emotions wreck his future. As days passed and the hype cooled off, his silence shifted in meaning. It wasn't just him ducking controversy, it became about control. By refusing to engage in debates about his worth, his family's power, or the league's fairness, Shilo sent a powerful message. My value isn't up for discussion. So now the million-dollar question is, what's next? Will Shilo finally break the silence and tell his side of the story? Will an NFL team give him another shot? Or will he follow one of those alternate paths his father hinted at? Nobody knows yet, but one thing's clear. He's already proved something about himself. In a world where the loudest voices usually win, Shilo showed that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. What do you think, though? Should Shilo stay quiet and let his future do the talking, or is it time he speaks up and sets the record straight? Drop your thoughts, hit that like, smash subscribe, and let us know in the comments.